Hello and welcome to episode 210 of Hump Day Hangouts. I am Adam Moody with Semantic Mastery, and we are going to say hi to everyone real quick before we dive into some announcements and questions from everybody watching us live. Also, if you're watching this on YouTube, we notice from time to time that we get questions over there, but you need to come to semanticmastery.com/HD questions and ask your questions there. That's where we're monitoring. So before we dive in real quick, Chris, how you doing, man?
Doing good. Good weather in Florida as always the last couple of weeks. Can highly recommend it. I love it here. How are you doing?
Not bad. It's like 60 here, which is perfect. Everyone in California thinks it's like the middle of winter, and I'm just enjoying myself. So this is good. Marco, how about you? How's the weather for you, man?
Things are good here, man. Transitioning to the dry season. So we're going to have about 5.5 months of absolutely no rain, not even a drop.
Crazy.
So I'm looking forward. Yeah, but then it's 7 months of afternoon showers. You got to pay the price for the life you live, right?
Yeah.
But always warm. Like if it were 60 here, we'd all be dying, literally. It's freezing cold.
I think people do the same in Florida.
Definitely. Bradley, how about you, man? How you doing?
I'm good. I'm happy to be here. Got lots of stuff going on at the moment, and just been really busy. So, and then last week, I took off for a couple of days because my sister got married again, and I actually got to go down to Hilton Head, South Carolina, and meet one of our members, Ed, who also went to the POFU Live. He's in the mastermind also, and it was cool because I got to spend a week or an hour with him, just chatting, and it was really cool. I always enjoy getting to meet members whenever we have the opportunity. So that was a lot of fun, but it took me, I had to take really Friday and Monday off. So now I'm behind. And besides that, I got a quick little story to tell very quickly. I just last week, it was funny because I was actually reviewing the Hump Day Hangout from last week, and I was talking about mitigating risk. Both Marco and I were talking about reducing exposure and trying to mitigate risk, because if you put all your eggs in one basket and Google takes that basket, you're screwed. You've lost all those assets. Well, I was using a test with what's called GMB location groups. It's a setting inside of Google My Business, and I was running a test on a set of GMB assets for a particular metro area, so one metropolitan city area. And I had 7 assets in there that were fully optimized, 100% done. In fact, they were the 7 assets that my VA has been training on as he's been learning the processes for doing this whole method, the local lease pro model essentially. And and needless to long story short, on Saturday I was down at the Hilton Head, and I happened to get an email saying that the account that was used as the recovery email for that particular GMB manager account, which had to be turned into an owner in order to use location groups, had been terminated for violating Google's spam policies. And I lost all those damn assets, and every single one of them, and I can't even access them through the original Google accounts now, guys. So that was like 3 weeks of work, not necessarily my work, but my VA's work, wasted. Now, is it all bad? No, because I learned a valuable lesson. Number one, don't use GMB location groups. It's like a trap. Number one, that's lesson number one. Number two is always mitigate risk. Do not allow don't set yourself up with vulnerabilities that Google can take. We exploit Google's vulnerabilities. Don't you think Google will exploit ours? So I learned that, and so in fact, I'm actually updating the entire process for how to first log in and set up and manage a lot of GMB assets. I'm updating all those processes this week, in fact, because we have to do something new that reduces our overall risk. So anyways, that was my little story. I'm a little bit behind now because all the work that I've done for the last several weeks on all the processes now has to be updated and redone. But that's the cat and mouse game that we play.
Yeah.
One of the great things about our mastermind is that we do all of the testing. We take all of the risks. We're the ones who go in the lab. I mean, we do encourage our own people to test so that they can verify that our results are what we're saying they are. But it's one of the things that we do. We blow things up, and it happens, and then now we know what not to do. And
right.
So right into our mastermind, we'll share all of the test results with the membership, exactly what was done, so that they don't repeat the process and get stuck losing assets, because nobody wants to lose an asset, right? Especially not 7, but so be it. Lesson well learned, and it's a lesson that the mastermind doesn't have to repeat.
That's true. And that just real quick segue, that leads me to, you know, that's kind of like what the mastermind is about. This is the scaling option, like doing all these heavy processes and stuff, is really reserved to the POFU Live group attendees at the moment. But we're polishing all this stuff. And obviously the mastermind, we update, like tomorrow we've got a mastermind webinar, and I'm certainly going to be talking about what not to do, right? Because I want to make sure all of our members are fully aware of what not to do so they don't lose assets. But once we have this 12-week process done, that the POFU Live attendees are kind of in an accountability group with me right now, and we've got a target that we're trying to hit at the end of 12 weeks, which is 50 GMB assets fully developed and ready for monetization if they're not already monetized by that point. And so when we're done at that 12-week period, we will have discovered or perfected, really fine-tuned the method and all of the processes to get us there, right? To get us to that point. And that's when we're going to release it in its entirety to the mastermind. That training will not be released outside of the mastermind period. And that's only because it's highly valuable. And it's we put a lot of work. In fact, the other members of the POFU accountability group with us, you know, there's like 12 of us in there. And so that's a lot of intellectual property, right? That's a lot of work that goes into that. And so the mastermind members will get that. But, you know, that's just one of many things that we do there. Like, for example, you know, we had some questions about how to structure ad ID pages and set up S3 buckets with HTTPS, you know, SSL protocol and all that stuff. And 2 weeks ago, we went in and showed exactly how to do that. I mean, it's just stuff like that we do in the mastermind all the time.
Yeah, and you know, something else that I just remembered that reminded me of Bradley was, I think it was Jason who posted yesterday. So one of our mastermind members just out of the blue was like, hey, I've seen some questions about blah, 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 not blah, 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 but like some heavy duty IT stuff. And he's like, hey, if anybody needs help, just ping me. I'll do it for free if you're a mastermind member. And so like, that's just awesome to see. And, you know, and again, it's you get that in a tight knit group like that. It's cool having that ability. You know, everyone who knows our story kind of knows where we came from and how we were part of a mastermind. And, you know, that's why part of why we do this, to get that community. It's not just this, you know, jumble of people. You do have a community.
Yeah.
Well, cool. I also wanted to say then too, you guys were mentioning the GMB stuff. We've got a sale going on right now at MGYB. There's it's wrapping up today. So if you're interested or you need a GMB verification service, whether it's for your clients, it's for yourself, you're doing some lead gen, head over there. I posted it on the page. You know, if you're watching the replay, sorry, it's probably too late, but a good reason to watch live and open the emails. But you can get a 35% discount on that service right now. So head over there, do that. And real quick too, if you're joining us for the first time, thank you so much for watching us. If you want the right place to start, because it is one of the questions we get, hey, where should I start? Should I take this course? Should I do that? Start with the battle plan. No matter where you're doing, even if you want to hop into the mastermind, get the battle plan, come join the mastermind. That's the path. The link's on there. It's a great way to get repeatable results, which is why we put it together, right? So that we can have that. It's our own processes put into an easy to digest format. And then obviously, like we've been talking about, if you're ready to take things up a notch, you want to scale, you want to grow, then the mastermind is the place to be.
Did you open up Local Lease Pro as a standalone product now?
Yes.
I'll be damned. I didn't realize that was available yet. Okay.
Sneaking that onto the page. If people are interested.
Yeah, okay.
I'm going to say no more.
Everything I've been talking about with this Local Lease Pro method, that's it. Most of you guys are probably aware of it because of the Side Hustle Toolbox promotion. That's where that was our contribution. But now that that's closed, it's a standalone product, and I'm going to be updating that in a couple of weeks with some of the new processes that I've just discovered. And again, GMB, like the actual optimization process, has changed slightly, not much, but slightly. And I'm updating the processes for my VAs right now. And so next week I'll kind of polish it up a bit and then add that into the Local Lease Pro training. So if you guys don't have it yet, I recommend you get it. This method is freaking killing it. I think it's the most opportunity I've seen in my local marketing career. And I mean that. So check it out. All right. Can we get any questions?
I think so. If you guys are good, let's do this.
All right. All right. Starting off with Chris Greenow posted a support question from Vincent. He says, I'm considering to join the RYS Reloaded or the GMB course. My question is this. If I do SEO for local businesses in my country, which is Malaysia, do I need to have access to my client's website? No, it can help. There's certain You don't have to have access to the client's website, but it would certainly help because you could take care of some on-page SEO issues. In other words, you can optimize the site itself, which is considered on-page SEO. And that can help. That can help quite a bit. In fact, with proper on-page SEO, a lot of the times you can rank a site with a fraction of the off-page SEO, right? Because any off-page SEO, the site will, if the on-site is proper, right? If it's tight, if it's strong, then any off-page will significantly affect it, right? It will have a strong impact on the site and the site will respond well to off-page because it is a well-built, well-structured site. But that doesn't mean that you have to have access to the site, because you can accomplish through off-page. You can still rank a site with off-page. If the on-page is terrible, then you probably are fighting a losing battle. But if it's decent, then you could probably still accomplish what you need to, depending on how competitive the keywords are that you're targeting. But it's likely that you could still accomplish what you needed to with off-page alone. But again, there are benefits certainly to being able to access the client's website, right? If it's, if you're starting with garbage, it's going to be difficult to rank. So that, just keep that in mind. Okay. It helps. It's not 100% necessary. Well, it depends, right? It depends on what the status of the site is currently. If it's a shitty site, if it was built poorly, optimized poorly, or if it's, like spam to death or whatever, then you may never be able to rank that site. But if it's decent, if it's fairly okay, right? If it's, then you could still just apply off-page methods and probably get the results that you want. However, if you can do both, manage the on-page and the off-page, you will get the best results, right? So number 2, he says, if my client has a WordPress.com or Wix.com website, can the SEO methods taught in RYS Reloaded and GMB work in getting first page ranking on Google? Well, yes, because RYS and, GMB, local GMB Pro course is not really anything have to do with websites, right? Local GMB Pro is how to optimize Google My Business and set up all of the Google assets to rank, not even to rank, but to just generate leads from Google, independent of ranking. That's what Local GMB Pro is about. It's about getting leads, getting exposure from Google My Business, whether it ranks or not. And that's what it's, again, despite traditional SEO, Local GMB Pro can generate leads from Google. Okay. So that's what Local GMB Pro is. RYS is about using Google's assets as an off-page tool, as well as an entity validator, an authority builder, and multiple other things. But it's more of an off-page thing. And again, it has nothing to do with the website structure or the platform itself. WordPress or Wix doesn't matter, because all you're doing is using Google properties to push relevancy and authority over to whatever property it is that you're trying to rank. Marco, do you want to chat about that a little bit?
Yeah, it's just one of the pillars that we teach. Art, the art of art, activity, relevance, trust, and authority, right? Both on the link origin and on the link destination. What that means is you get visitors, no matter how, you show activity, and Google rewards you. It's as long as everything is relevant and you're working with trusted authoritative entities. If you become, along with that, a trusted and authoritative entity, then you get rewarded. Google will also reward you for being in Google, because Google trusts itself. It's the ultimate as far as what it trusts. And so working in what we call working inside the belly of the beast also has its rewards. And so, yeah, as Brady said, it makes absolutely no difference. I mean, you work with whatever. I mean, you have a excuse me, a WordPress, a free WordPress blog ranking for what is it? Free? No, not free. That's SEO Virginia SEO. Virginia. Yeah, and I mean, it just goes to show that if you get that activity in there, everything else just fall into place, right? As long as it's relevant, trusted, and authoritative. Wham! And I keep telling people, and I just mentioned it in our Semantic Mastery Facebook group, the Mastermind, that art, A-R-T, will trump anything. It will even overcome any of the negative factors of the algorithm, right? Penalties and all of that. You become almost immune to anything that Google has to throw at you, because you're signaling rank brain in the way that it wants to be signaled. You're doing the Google tickle, the G tickle. And I mean, it just, it blows up. It becomes a self-feeding monster once you get all that activity in there.
Yeah, and this is an example that what Marco was just talking about. This is that WordPress.com, so free WordPress.com blog, guys. And if you take a look at this, there's no content on this page. It looks like there's content, but the only content on this page is this right here. That's it. The rest of those are embedded files. That's RYS at work there, guys. That's the RYS Academy right there at work. Okay. There's, again, go view page source. The post body, the article body of this post, the content body is this right here. That's the only text on the page. The rest of it is all embedded files, RYS style. And that's all. And it's, look at that, guys. It's ranked number 3 in organic for SEO Virginia. I mean, that's pretty powerful. And that's, again, that's all off-page stuff. There is some on-page going on there because of the iframes that are actually embedded in this page, but it's primarily an off-page thing that's got this ranking. And that's the power of RYS, right? By the way, that's the Google site as part of the stack, and that's been number 1 since May of 2015, guys. That's been number 1 since May of 2015, or within a few weeks anyways. That's when it was published. And look at it, it's a horrid site. It was just for a test purpose, guys. Still ranked. Still ranked. Over it's 3.5 years now. Still ranked. So anyways, there you go. Will it work? It damn sure does. Dustin's up, or Dubby. Hey there, I'm using the MGYB GMB post scheduling service, but I was wondering, in the local GMB course, you link to the previous post, but when I schedule the post, then I don't have the URL of the last URL because it will be scheduled. How do I link to the post then if the last post yet is not published or is not published yet? Greetings, Dustin. That's a good question, Dustin. You know, Marco, that's something that I think Rob was talking about, that was going to be a feature that was going to be released soon within the auto poster, was the ability to silo posts. Is that correct?
Yeah, we keep going back and forth with ShripHad. I'm not sure if that's available yet, but I mean there's an easy solution to that. Link in the body. Well, you're still not gonna have the post URL. You would need the original post URL and then the next one, then the next one. And so ShripHad will have to come up with something regarding that so that we can solve that issue. But yes, he is working on it so we can silo GMB posts.
Yeah, I'm thinking if, you know, the script would wait until a published one was pulled and then like grab the short URL and then link to that before the next one's that's scheduled publishes. You know what I mean? That would work to be able to silo them out. I know that, you know, if you're posting them, like if you post the post and then you can, like, so you publish the post, then you can grab the URL and link to it from the next post. But you're right. If you want to schedule out multiple posts in advance, right now there's not an ability to do that yet. But that's something, Marco, if you want to make a note of that specifically, silo posts together, scheduled posts together, which that's I'm sure that can be integrated at some point. So right now that's not something that can be done, Dustin, but we're working on that. That's a great feature.
No, but Dustin, what I would suggest is you just have your VA go in and add links as needed. As
they're published.
Correct.
Right. So as they're published, go grab the URL and then go post the next one. And that's the only thing we can do to daisy chain them together right now until we have the automation such that it will be able to do it. Okay. Jordan says on one of the guys, there we go. One of the guys on our SEO team said after an SEO pitch, this probably sounds like magic to them. I still can't believe we get paid for this stuff. Almost like grown-up version of video games. Haha. That's funny. Well, I can believe we get paid for it, man. Think about all the testing and all the studying and all the learning and stuff that you guys, and the money that you invest in your education and to tools and all that stuff. I mean, we spend a lot of time learning this stuff, guys. We should be paid for it, you know? I mean, think about that. Think about we spend all the time learning how to perform this SEO magic stuff, right? And then, you know, that a business owner that's doing, you know, plumbing, for example, he's out unclogging drains and that kind of stuff. He doesn't have time to learn all this stuff. How do I know? Because I was an electrical contractor and I had to learn how to do this shit while I was doing electrical work. Just so happens I found that I could make more money at this. And that's why I switched to this altogether. What were you going to say, Marco?
Yeah, I was going to say we deserve to be paid and be paid well. I mean, we spent, you know how much time we've spent between RYS Academy, RYS Reloaded, local GMB Pro, local PR Pro, local Lease Pro. You know how many hours have gone into researching that and making it work, and making it all like work hand in hand, so that one pushes the other, and you're pushing ultimate power to whatever destination, so that that client's phone rings. So yeah, it may seem like magic. Wow, my phone rang. You did all that, but it's actually just hours and hours and hours of being a total geek.
Rabbit hole time, yep. Dan's up. He says, I've looked at using press releases based off the Battleplan and saw that you have them at the store. Besides using them for launching a new site, would there be other places that I could use them? I do some consulting on the side for local businesses and build sites, lead gen, etc. Yeah, Dan, press releases are my favorite off-page or like link building method, really. Like, no question. I absolutely love press releases. I use them as my primary off-page link building tool or method. You know, I still use spam links from time to time for certain things, but for the most part, I'm using press releases for link building. So yeah, you can use them. Guys, there's dozens and dozens of things that you can publish press releases about. I've talked about them. Like, you know, we have a course called Local PR Pro, which is specifically about how to use press releases to rank in the maps pack, right? To get Google GMB, like Google My Business profiles, ranked in the maps pack using press releases, right? So it's really that's what that course Local PR Pro is all about. And in that course, I talk about how there's multiple different things that you could publish a press release about, because that's a question that comes up often. Well, you know, I don't think my client has anything that's really newsworthy to publish a press release about. But think about it. Getting a 5-star review is you could publish a press release about receiving a 5-star review, or your client, right? Or you could publish a press release about a new employee being hired, or you know, a seasonal change to the product line that's available, or the services that are available, depending on what kind of business you're dealing with, right? Or you know, an accolade that the company receives, some sort of award or something like that, or any charitable things, you know, any charity events that they're hosting or that they contribute to or participate in, right? There's there's dozens and dozens of things, hooks, angles that you could use to write a news release, or something that can be like, even guys, you can even publish a press release about a new blog post that's been published on the website. No kidding. I mean, it's just, you just have to get a little bit creative. And Dan, when I say you have to get creative, I don't mean you. I mean, what I would recommend is hiring like a PR writer from Upwork or something like that, that can come up with these angles. Like a good press release writer can come up with a newsworthy angle for just about anything. And so you know, again, if you're doing a lot of this work, you could hire a PR writer, a good PR writer from like Upwork or something like that. Or if you've got a good press release distribution service that you subscribe to for you know, monthly press releases or whatever, if they've got good writers in-house, which most good services do now, then they have writers that are already like trained on how to find newsworthy angles or to create hooks for their stories, for the press releases, right? And so, for example, if you use the MGYB press release service, the writers there from the Press Advantage Distribution Network, that's who we're using. It's fabulous. And the press releases are like almost twice the content length of normal of typical press releases. So they're somewhere in the neighborhood of 750 words as opposed to 300 to 400, which is what most of them are. So those writers are really, really good. Like, that's their sole purpose in life, is to find an angle or to create an angle to write a press release about. And those are the same writers that you have access to when you buy press releases from us individually. Okay. Anybody want to comment on that before we move on? It's a good one, Dan.
No, I think you hit the nail on the head. They're great for just about everything. The only thing that you have to avoid is self-promotion, but I mean, you get that from most of them. You just have to define what self-promotion is. Like you go and you advertise, well, we're in Facebook. If you just started your Facebook page, we're doing this, we're doing that. It's still self-promotion. It's just not getting salesy. That's what you want to try to avoid. So other than that, it's fantastic for link building. And then not only that, if you hit the pressure link, whatever the distribution network is with link building, it'll push through. You're putting like a filter in between the destination, right? So that if you hit that with link building, it'll power it up even more. So they just work really well for everything.
They damn sure do. And like Marcus said, you can actually do self-promotional PRs, but the salesy part is what you got to leave out. They shouldn't be salesy, but they can be self-promotional. Again, if a good PR writer will be able to disguise a promotion as a story, a news story, right? And that's really what you want to do. So that's why I say don't do it yourself. If I had to write press releases, I'd be a very miserable person. I wouldn't want to do it. But some people enjoy that stuff and they're good at it. So, all right, Andrew Walker's up, and Andrew is a local guy to me. I was in a lead share, like a breakfast lead share group with him for several years. That I don't attend those things much anymore, but Andrew's a great guy. And so anyways, it's good to see you here, Andrew. I haven't seen him in a while. He says, hey guys, it's been a long time since I've been on Hump Day Hangouts. I got caught up in the cold calling strategy to build my business and also had a case of the shiny object syndrome. Well, we all do, Andrew. Don't beat yourself up, buddy. We all go through that. I promise you, I've been through it. I still struggle with that, to be honest. I don't fully understand how powerful, or excuse me, I didn't fully understand how powerful digital marketing is and what it can do for your business. You would think that that's a no-brainer for an IT guy. Anyway, I'm back for real, and I'm ready to learn this stuff. I just downloaded the Battleplan. I'd love to get involved in the mastermind, but I'm not able to afford that at this time. The Syndication Academy looks to be a great runner-up. Can I start there to get things going, or just start with the Battleplan? Thanks, guys, and congrats on your 4-year anniversary. Okay, great question, Andrew. Again, glad to see you back, man. The Syndication Academy is, yeah, it's good. However, I'm not going to knock Syndication Academy, but what we recommend is, like, especially for you, Andrew, you're running your IT business, right? Your IT services business. And so if it depends on how much time you have. If you've got a lot of time and no money, then yes, pick up Syndication Academy, because then you can learn how to build your own syndication network, which is going to be one of the critical components to your business and expanding your reach and helping to generate more leads. It'll help with your SEO and all that kind of stuff. However, there's a lot of time that goes into learning how to build a syndication network. And unless you plan on building syndication networks for others or selling them to others, I wouldn't recommend that you go through all the trouble of learning how to build all that stuff for your own branded syndication network for your own business. If you're looking to try to grow your business, then your time is better spent not learning how to build a syndication network that you're only going to build one for your own business. Your time is better spent marketing your business. So you could instead just buy a done-for-you syndication network from us, and we will build it to our specifications, which is exactly what we teach in the training. So you can save yourself weeks of study and implementation by just buying a done-for-you syndication network, and you still reap the benefits of it without having to spend weeks of your time. Does that make sense? And they're inexpensive enough that there's really no reason that you can't just buy a done-for-you syndication network from us. It's cheaper or about the same price as the cost of a month tuition to Syndication Academy, right? So anyways, my point is, if you want, Andrew, since you can't join the mastermind yet, what I recommend is that you attend our Hump Day Hangouts regularly on Wednesdays. Ask your questions here. Try to keep it to one question per post. In other words, you can post a few times, but try to keep it to one question per post, please. But ask questions here, and we will try to guide you in the best way possible to help you to start growing your IT business just from these Hump Day Hangouts. And then once you have generated some revenue, you can always come join the mastermind, which is your best bet, because the mastermind is not just about marketing stuff. Like that's, guys, we've gotten away from just teaching SEO or just teaching marketing methods. It's more about building your business, regardless of whether you're building a local agency or consulting firm, or you want to build your own brick and mortar business or virtual business for that matter. Like, we want to teach you how to do all of that, which includes marketing and includes SEO and includes all that stuff. But it's not, we're not pigeonholing our training into just marketing training, if that makes sense. A lot more goes into it than that. And so I would suggest, Andrew, that what you do is come back and join us here at Hump Day Hangouts, get involved, stay engaged, ask questions. We also have our Facebook group, the SEO tutorials Facebook group, that you could ask questions there. And then as soon as you're able to, I would invest in joining the mastermind so that you can get like basically almost one-on-one guidance from each one of us, my partners and I, as well as all of the other members in the mastermind that are also savvy business owners, right? That's part of it, why it's a mastermind, because it's not just about us teaching all the time. It's about everybody in there contributing and helping each other, which is fabulous. Okay. And by the way, One of our top members, longtime members, Jason Johnson, who is what Adam was just talking about at the very beginning of this Hump Day Hangout, he was mentioning somebody was having difficulty setting up their MX records for G Suite email to use their domain for their email within G Suite. And Jason Johnson posted, hey, I saw somebody was having trouble with MX records. Hey, I've got, I'm an IT guy. If anybody has any questions or any problems, tell them to reach out to me. I'll help them for free as long as they're a mastermind member. So, Andrew, what I'm saying is Jason is an IT guy who's been in our mastermind, who does digital marketing on the side, but also markets his own business. And that's somebody that you could absolutely click with, and probably the two of you could chat about what he's doing for his business and what's working for him and generating leads for his IT business and all that kind of stuff, right? So, again, that's part of the power of a mastermind. It's not just learning from me or Marco when, I'm going to teach you how to generate leads for your business, but I generate leads for contracting businesses, right? You're trying to generate leads for IT services and computer repair and networking and that kind of stuff, right? So why not get advice direct from somebody that's already generating leads for that type of a business, which we have members in our group that do that. Does that make sense? So that's the power of a mastermind, okay? So that's what I would recommend. In the meantime, if you don't have the money, come back here, ask questions, implement what you can, go through our YouTube channel, Semantic Mastery, youtube.com/Semantic Mastery. Use the channel search function, ask questions over there. You're likely going to find already video answers for many of your questions. And then, like I said, anything that you can't find answers to, post in either the Facebook group or post back here on the event page every week, and we'll come in and answer your questions. And as soon as you can generate a little bit of positive revenue, I would reinvest that back into your education and into building your business by joining the mastermind, getting guidance from us as well as our other members.
Yeah, I'm going to give him just a couple of examples. First of all, welcome back, Andrew. Sorry that you had shiny object syndrome. I mean, that sucks, and it makes you spend a whole lot of money and time chasing. It becomes a useless path.
Like a dog chasing its tail.
You fill up your computer with a whole bunch of garbage that you're never going to use. Then you realize how much money you spent, and then you get caught up at where you are right now, where you ended, and dropped all that money, and you have nothing to show for it. But that's okay. Lesson learned. The two examples that I'm going to give you is I'm going to give you Paul Fussell, who's always in these Hump Day Hangouts. I wouldn't be surprised if he drops in today, or if he isn't, it's because he's out making money. He was at Postful Live, as a matter of fact, our event. And the way he went about doing it, he'd come into Hump Day Hangouts, ask questions, and then go and apply. Ask questions, go and apply. Then he started purchasing our drive stacks to rank. I know that he was doing dental for a while. I don't know what he's doing now. But anyway, the thing about Paul is that he just went and he got done for you services and then he was chasing clients. Every time he'd get a client, drive stack, and that's how he would rank them. But that's Paul, and that's how he did it. So Hump Day Hangouts and done for you services. Then we get to Jordan, right, in Syndication Academy. Jordan lives in Syndication Academy. Yeah. He's always there. He's one of our, I don't know, one of our long-running and most active members of Syndication Academy. He runs an agency, and I think he just got a huge nationwide client, but it's from Syndication Academy. I'm not going to say that he got everything from Syndication Academy, but I know that that's his foundation, and I know that that's what he's doing to rank his clients, to help his clients, and to help his agency grow. He has an agency, actually. He's an agency owner, but he decided that Syndication Academy was the thing for him. But of course, they'll all tell you, and Jordan will tell you that the Battleplan is the place where you start, and you have to follow it. And if you follow the Battleplan, then you're going to get to our done-for-you services. It's a whole lot easier to go and buy a Syndication Academy network, as Bradley mentioned, than to learn how to build a one-of, right? One of a kind that you only need that one time. Why not go buy it and pay that than to pay a monthly membership to learn how to build one where you might not want to learn how to build one? All you might need is just to buy them and then go and sell it to clients, to people you know. You pitch the benefits of being branded, of having that footprint, of being seen, of your content being seen everywhere, right? Pushing your content to where the people are hanging out. So that's one of the benefits. So you could do it many ways. Now, of course, we're always going to tell you, that the mastermind is the place to be, because that's where like-minded entrepreneurs hang out. People who want to grow their business and get away from just that weekly paycheck and having to wait until the next one so that you could do whatever it is that you want to do. We want to push you guys past that. We call it POFU, position of fuck you. Whatever that position is for you, Andrew, we want you to get there. And there isn't just one way to get there, but we do want to help you get there. So whether you choose Hump Day Hangouts, whether you choose Syndication Academy, or what we suggest, whether you join our mastermind, we're going to help you any way we can. That's what we're here for.
That's right. And let's not forget Muhammad. He's a shining example. Muhammad Maki, he started by just joining Hump Day Hangouts and coming and asking questions week in and week out and for months. And eventually he got to a point where he landed a couple of his first clients and started making enough money. He came and joined the mastermind. And then he went through a little bit of a struggle for over-promising to clients, and ended up losing some clients and had to drop out of the mastermind for a little bit. But he kept coming to the Hump Day Hangouts and asking more questions, even during that time where he had to back out of the mastermind. And he got the education that he needed, and he implemented it, right? It's nothing we did. All we did was provide him with information, but he's the one that took action and kept at it. He kept persisting in working, and he kept finding stuff that wasn't working until he found stuff that did work. And then he landed some clients again, got his money back up, and joined the mastermind again. So that's just basically, we have multiple examples of people that have done that just by starting here, right here at Hump Day Hangouts, Andrew, and you can do that too, right? The battle plan, like I said, will tell you, do this, 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 and this, and you're going to start getting results. It doesn't say that you have to learn how to do those things. It just tells you apply these things, right? So you can either learn how to do those things and do them yourself, or as a business owner, it would be much more efficient with your time to just purchase the done-for-you services and apply them in the order that they're recommended and reap the benefits of those, right? Without having to learn how to do it. Okay. So great question. And again, glad to have you back, Andrew. We're happy to see you participate and be a lot more engaged over the coming weeks. Gordon's up. He says, hey guys, thank you very much again for the help you provide on Hump Days. It's greatly appreciated. You're welcome, Gordon. If you're looking to find low-hanging fruit where you can easily rank in the GMB 3-pack, other than looking at the reviews of the current businesses in the 3-pack and their citation profile, what else do you do to decide whether or not you have found a golden goose ranking opportunity? And also, how do you determine whether or not there's enough search traffic to generate adequate phone calls? Thanks again, Gordon. Okay, so first of all, Gordon, Local Lease Pro, I showed the exact simple method. It's kind of time-consuming, but the simple method using a free software that we use to identify what I call slam dunk opportunities, which is what you're calling a golden goose in your question. Okay. And again, that was in Local Lease Pro. If you have access to that, which I'm hoping you do, because it was on sale for a very, very ridiculously low price for about 8 days during the Side Hustle Toolbox launch, which that's closed now. But it is available, Local Lease Pro, but we teach the method specifically how to find low-hanging opportunities. Now, I can't go into the details of that right here, but it is very, very simple to do using the Easy Local Cache software, which is a free software. It's Chad Kimball software. But it just shows you basically ever since July of this year, when mobile implemented or switched to the mobile first indexed, that opened up just massive, massive opportunity. Because I'm telling you guys, it opened up more opportunity than I've seen since I started my local marketing career in 2010. And that is what we teach on how to find that those opportunities that have been opened up by this major change in the algorithm, or which index is used first, right? The mobile first index. So that's all in Local Lease Pro. I can't obviously share that right here. It is in the course. Also, you can find out certainly if you joined Mastermind, because Local Lease Pro is one of the first courses that Mastermind members get now when they join. So
yeah, the how, I mean, that's the course. The how is you know, if we gave you that, then why have a course in the first place? So sorry, that's something that we can do. And I'm glad that you mentioned again the mastermind. I was in our mini, you know, that we have the mini mastermind, and mine is on Tuesday nights for an hour. And I have 3 great people. I have Jamina, I have Will Kenderdine, and John Wypick.
That's awesome.
And we were going over my method for using the software. And we went over it in detail. And I don't mind for an hour. I mean, I decided to give my time, right? And so this is what it's all about. Membership has its privileges. I do things a little bit differently. I find targets a little bit differently, but it all works just the same way that you teach it, the way that I do it, however it is that you decide to do it. The thing is that you have to, membership has its privileges, and you have to be a member in order to get the information that you're asking about. Is that something that we can give away for free?
Yeah. So also, how do you determine whether or not there's enough search traffic to generate adequate phone calls? Well, that's a good question, but if you do your research properly up front, you should know. So first of all, you should research your industry or the niche that you're targeting. Now, if you've followed us at all for any length of time, Gordon, which I know you have, you know that I've been telling you, and I've been preaching this and beating this drum for years now, which is specialize. Focus on one industry, guys. Become a big fish in one industry instead of a Me Too agency or Me Too consultant or Me Too local marketer that will just accommodate any business that will talk to you. Trust me, you will never gain any traction in your business, or you will have a much harder time gaining traction in your business if you just offer marketing services to any business that will talk to you, because your amount of work multiplies exponentially, because you have to do keyword research, you have to do market research, you have to understand the vocabulary of the industry, you have to figure out what the pain points are in those industries, both for the consumer and for the business owner, so that you can help. Because if you're telling the business owner that you can help them market their products and services, you need to understand the consumer's mindset, but you also have to understand the business owner's mindset so that you can talk to them and speak their language, right? Build rapport with them. So you have to learn two different markets for every industry you enter, the consumer market and the business market, right? So there's just so much work that goes into learning, becoming a marketing special or professional in any industry. It requires a ton of research. And so if you try to just say, oh, I'm going to be a local marketing guy, and I'll talk to any business in my area that will talk to me, you're going to create a shit ton of additional work that you can significantly reduce, and you'll gain a lot more traction a lot faster in your business if you focus in on one particular industry, because then you can craft everything you do in your business around that particular industry. All your marketing messages, all your keyword research, your content templates, everything that you do can be designed around that one particular industry. Now you become a specialist. I use this as an example. Would you go to a general health practitioner for heart surgery? No, you go to a cardiologist. So why do you think businesses like, let's say home remodeling contractors or general contractors, would they want to go to a Me Too agency, or would they want to go to a contractor media, a contractor marketing agency that specializes in general and remodeling contractor marketing? Does that make sense? Which one would you prefer? So Gordon, I recommend specializing in on one industry, but before deciding on, don't just arbitrarily decide on what industry you want to focus in on and say, I'm going to build my business around that. You need to research that industry and determine, is there call volume? Is there significant interest in that? Is there money there? What's one of the ways that you can determine that? An easy and simple and a quick way is go do a search for the product and or service as if you were a customer looking for that product or service, and just go do a Google search for it and take a look and see, are there ads? Are there Google ads? If so, that means there's paying advertisers. If there's Google ads, that means people are paying to bid on those keywords, which means there's likely traffic for those keywords. If there wasn't traffic for those keywords, and if those keywords didn't convert, there wouldn't be ads. Does that make sense? People don't pay and bid on keywords. Well, good advertisers don't pay and bid on keywords that don't convert or don't generate traffic that converts, right? So if you're seeing Google ads, that's a good indication. Now, I wouldn't stop there. I'd research it further. You could do things like use Google Trends to find out where in the country or in the world for that matter, but I always do US-based searches. You can find out where the hot spots are for where the search traffic is the most, or the search interest is the most for your types of the types of products or services that you'd be promoting in that industry, right? So then you can start to develop out which locations you're going to target first for your business. Does that make sense? But remember, specialize on one industry, guys, because then you can scale your business by geography instead of by type or kind. Does that make sense? Instead of trying to scale your business by taking on new industries where you're going to create so much additional work, scale your business by continuing with the same industry, but expanding your service area or your territory, your target area, right? That's a hell of a lot better, much more efficient way to build your business. And not only that, in time, you will build a name and a reputation for being that type of a marketing specialist for that particular industry. And people will start to seek you out as opposed to you having to force or push your marketing, your services onto others. People will start to seek you out because they know that you're the specialist. Does that make sense? So how do you determine whether there's enough search traffic? You have to research it. Make sure it's an industry that has paying advertisers. Make sure that there is significant search interest for those types of things and that it's profitable. As I've said about in the past, you know, carpet cleaning, there's a ton of search interest for carpet cleaning, but there's very, very, very small margins in the carpet cleaning industry, right? So carpet cleaning companies don't particularly like to pay for marketing services or for lead generation services. They don't have the budgets for it because their margins are very small. But if you just did keyword research, which is what when I first started, the very first lead gen site I ever built was carpetcleaningalexandriava.com. And it was, you know, I don't own that anymore, but it was a lead gen site that I built because all I did was base my decision on which industry I was going to target based upon keyword search volume from the Google Keyword Planner. And it said something like 600 exact match searches for that term, carpet cleaning Alexandria, VA, per month. It was like 660 or something. It was something like that, 600 searches per month. So I said, oh man, there's a lot of search volume there. I can make money with that. Well, I built the site and I and got it ranked #1, and we were getting 30 to 40 calls a week through that lead gen site. And I had trouble monetizing it for even a couple $100s a month. No shit. And then when I finally got down to the chewy center of why that was, by sitting down with the contractor that was renting that site from me or leasing that site from me, he told me, because the carpet cleaning business has very, very small margins, right? Very small margins. And he was making like something ridiculous, like per carpet cleaning job, like $8 or $10 or $12 in profit. It was something stupid after paying his labor and insurance costs and the cleaning solution costs and all of this overhead. He had a very small margin, so he had trouble paying for that. What happened? I ended up switching into other higher margin businesses. That's why I love the tree service industry, because it's huge margins. That's why I like remodeling contractors, home builders, HVAC repair, any sort of repair, roofers, all those types, because the margins are so much larger. Does that make sense? So again, you have to do the research, Gordon. There's no real easy answer there. You just got to go be logical and do the research, and you should be able to find the opportunities as well as the perfect industry. Also, one last thing I would suggest about that is, seriously, guys, try to find an industry that you not only has all the correct signals or markers of being a good industry to work in, but also one that you have a genuine interest in, because it'll make it feel less like work. Okay. Like, honestly, I don't have any interest in tree services, except for the fact that that does make me some damn good money, which kind of makes it interesting. You know, but if you can find an industry that you have a genuine interest in, it'll feel less like work while you're building your business. Anybody want to comment on that before I move on? That was a long-winded answer, I know.
No, but it was perfect. There's no need to go into that any further.
What's up? He says, hey guys, so if I have a group of GMB sites in the same metro area and a WordPress site ranked on page 1 in SERPs, a YouTube channel with videos ranking on page 1 of Google's video page, and I want to lease all of these as a total package deal to a business owner operating in the area, how do I set up the syndication network for this? Can I feed the RSS feeds from all the GMB sites into the WordPress site blog into one generically branded syndication network, or do I need to set up separate networks for each GMB site and WordPress site? Thank you very much for your comment, Michael. You know, I don't recommend a GM or a syndication network for lead gen assets unless you need them. Like, for example, like if you're having trouble getting the lead gen asset to push into the 3-pack, then, you know, and a syndication network will help for that, then absolutely. But if you have, and the other thing is, if you have all of, like, if you have a cluster of Google My Business profiles for a metropolitan area that are all branded the same, then you could use one syndication network for those. When you talk about grabbing the GMB RSS feeds, I'm not sure what you mean from that, unless you're using our GMB auto poster, which will generate an RSS feed. but you can't just get an RSS feed, at least not that I'm aware of. Marco, this may have changed, but is there an RSS feed from the GMB websites yet?
Not that I know of. Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. Yeah, as far as I'm aware, there is not an RSS feed from the GMB websites. So our GMB auto poster will create an RSS feed from the GMB posts that are connected through that auto poster, right? Or that are posted with that auto poster. So you can do it that way. But like I said, you should have a common brand for all of those assets if that's the case. If you want to feed them all into one network, which again, I'm going to be 100% transparent with you guys. I'm not building syndication networks for my lead gen assets. I build syndication networks for clients because I tell them that it's critical, and it is. It's because it's brand building, it's entity validation and brand authority building, right? And so any client, I'm going to tell them you should have a syndication network to protect your brand and expand and to amplify your brand, expand your reach, right? And also helps to build your authority and all that kind of stuff. And for content marketing, all my clients, I suggest we do regular content marketing, blogging that gets syndicated out to the syndication network. That's all true. And it's not just because I want to charge them money, guys. It's to protect their brand and to help them to stay ranked. But for lead gen assets, that's an additional expense. So why implement that until and unless you need to, right? So for my lead gen assets that I'm building right now, I'm not using syndication networks. If I have lead gen assets that I do all the other magic that I work to them, and they don't end up producing because maybe they're not ranking well, or that area ended up being more competitive than I originally thought, then I may add a syndication network, but that's only if and when it's absolutely needed. It's kind of like a last resort thing because it's an additional expense that I don't want to have to put up for a lead gen asset if I can get results without it. Now, once you've monetized an asset, a lead gen, or in this case, multiple assets, once you've monetized them, I've talked about this too. Once you've developed, like for me, when I monetize a lead gen asset, what I do is after several months, 2 or 3 months of the service provider paying on time and there's no issues, if we develop a decent relationship, then I offer at that point to rebrand those lead gen assets after the client, their name. So it makes it's a lot more legit that way, right? And so, like I said, at that point, once I would offer the rebranding, then that's where I could upsell them on, hey, since we're going to be rebranding these, we should also build a syndication network because it's going to help to protect your brand, and we can use that to help continue to push the lead gen assets that I'm going to rebrand. It'll help to continue to keep them producing for you, blah, 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 blah. At that point, we set up a syndication network, might even set them up on content marketing services. That's an additional charge beyond the lead gen leasing or pay per lead fees that I'm charging them, depending on how I've monetized that asset. This is now starting to build their asset, right? Syndication network with their branding, doing content marketing on their website. So now I'm double dipping, right? Now I'm generating money from my lead gen assets and also working on the client's assets as a separate fee, right? So it gives you a whole lot of opportunity, Michael. But for your lead gen assets, I don't recommend setting up a syndication network unless you absolutely need to. Try to get results without it, guys. I am a firm believer in trying to get the most results or trying to get the best results with the least amount of effort possible and least amount of money invested too. Okay. It's a good hump day today, by the way. I'm liking these questions. So good question, Michael. All right. Ray had some confusion earlier. We'll pass over that. Quit this house. He says, if I wanted to syndicate my GMB post, should I create a blog post with the post details and link, or should I post to one of the social media sites and create a trigger from there? Quit this house. Use the GMB auto poster. I'm telling you, it's stupid inexpensive. It's super convenient and efficient, and it can generate an RSS feed from your GMB posts, and then you can just connect that directly to a syndication network, and then voila, it's done. You don't have to go. Right now, what you're talking about would require like a manual action for every post, right? So if you just set it up through the auto poster, you can not only schedule out your GMB posts all in one sitting so that they automatically publish on the day and time that you select, but it will also generate an RSS feed that then you can populate or trigger a syndication network with, and all of that is automated.
By the way, since we're back on the auto poster, I got an answer from Rob, and he says, yes, we'll be able to silo based on tagging. So you can create multiple silos within the auto poster just by tagging,
Sweet.
by using different tags. The function isn't integrated yet, but it's coming. It's already being developed, guys. So those of you who are looking to get into this, get in there now, because it just keeps. Shriphead is a master programmer, and he just keeps adding to it more and more functionality, and he's not charging more. And we're not going to charge more monthly yet. If it gets to the point where there's just a ton of programming that needs to be done, the price will probably need to go up. But we usually grandfather people into the prices where they are. So remember that.
Yeah. Michael says, holy crap, I can't believe I got the $1,000 local lease pro course for $47. Yeah, Michael. I looked for 8 days. We promoted the shit out of that and told everybody that once the Side Hustle Toolbox offer closed, that it was going to, originally I said it was going to go to 500, but it's such a damn good course. I mean, I'm telling you, it is I think the most opportunity I've seen in my local marketing career, that local lease pro method right there. So that's why we made it 1,000. Not only that, but we're going to be updating the course. Like I said, I've got some new stuff to add to it that as soon as I get my VA on track for the new changes and I polish up the processes a little bit, I'm going to be sharing that with I'll be updating Local Lease Pro. So yeah, you're right. Good thing that you got in on it. Abe says, hi, can it hurt or help to have? By the way, guys, if you want Local Lease Pro, if you don't have it, there's only two options. You can buy it for $1,000 or you can join the mastermind and you can get it included in your mastermind membership. So it's entirely up to you. But I would recommend it. I mean, guys, it's even worth $1,000. I'm not kidding, because of the opportunity. I'm telling you, it's the most opportunity I've seen in my almost 9-year career now. Okay. Abe says, hi, can it hurt or help to have multiple syndication networks? Yes, it can, Abe. Not for YouTube channels. Well, depending on how they were set up. But if you're using syndication networks for blog syndication to try to rank your own domain, right, like a self-hosted site, then yes, multiple syndication networks can hurt you depending on how you have it set up and how you have your syndication set up. I've said for years now, like, we teach branded tier 1 syndication networks. And then we also talk about, and we teach how to build 2-tier syndication networks. And you can take it out multiple tiers. But I've also recommended for years that you only use 2-tier syndication networks on YouTube channels, or multi-tiered syndication networks on YouTube channels, or for YouTube syndication, not for blog syndication. However, if you want to do it for blog syndication, I do teach in Syndication Academy, and I've talked about it multiple times, how you can use multi-tiered syndication networks and reduce the chance of getting a Google slap. You cannot eliminate it because you are still leaving a footprint, but you can significantly reduce the footprint if you add additional content feeds as triggers into your second or third tiers, right? Because what you want to do is you want to mask or bury your content among a whole lot of additional relevant and related type content, so that the blogs don't show or appear to be solely for manipulating search rankings, right? And that's essentially what they are. And so again, with multi-tiered syndication networks, I don't recommend them for blog syndication unless you know what you're doing and you're willing to put forth all the additional effort. And also, multi-tiered syndication networks can break down because there's a lot of moving pieces. There's a lot of different content sources, which can cause, different RSS feeds that you don't have control over because they're not your RSS feeds, which can cause problems. And multi-tiered syndication networks can be a bitch to maintain for that reason. And so that's another reason I don't recommend them. And if you are just flatly syndicating your content to multiple syndication networks and you're not masking or hiding your footprint, then you are absolutely causing damage, because it is clearly, it's the algorithm can pick that up in a split second, right? And so, Abe, I would, again, if you don't know, if you're going to be building these types of stuff, like I said, the only way that we have Syndication Academy where I talk about all of that stuff. Seriously, I go into your best practices and everything about how to use them and where to use them. But for blog syndication, I highly recommend that you just use a 1-tier branded syndication network. And then you can boost the hell out of that. Okay.
Yeah, he also says that he's used lower standard contractors in the past, and he's considering using our services on top. Dude, if you've done that, then don't get a syndication network from us until you fix whatever it is that you've done. And I suggest totally getting into Syndication Academy seeing how it's all supposed to work. I hope that you have access to all of these networks and multiple rings that have been done for you, so that you can just stop whatever madness it was that was created, and you could do it the right way, the way that it's supposed to be done, which is branding. It's done for branding and for syndicating your network. It's not, it is done to manipulate, but to manipulate in the right way. If you get caught manipulating the wrong way, you're going to get slapped down.
That's right. So Ray says, what is the difference between press release service from Serp Space and MGYB? Are they overlapping and or equivalent? They're equivalent now, Ray, because, well, there's two different levels of press releases orders from Serp Space. There was the press release and then press release plus. The press release was the Press Advantage Network, the distribution network. And we have now a separate account, but we have our own Press Advantage distribution network agreement with them that is available in MGYB. So it's basically the same distribution network. So it's up to you if you want to order from Serp Space or if you want to come to MGYB, which is owned and controlled entirely by Semantic Mastery and my partners. So that makes sense. Serp Space was a collaboration. We're no longer part of that. We're not. There's no issues there or anything like that. I'm just letting you know if you want to order directly from us, it's through MGYB. Okay. Good question. Doodle Digital Marketing. I like that. He says, hey guys, I love the Hangouts, tons of value. Should we link out from the GMB biz site description? Not, well, wait a minute. The GMB, yes, you can link from the GMB website content. I don't know about the description, but if you're talking about the GMB business description, no, you can't put links in that. That's short. I think it only allows 750 characters. But if you're talking about the GMB website, yes, you can link out to that. What I don't recommend doing a lot of external links unless it makes sense, right? It has to be relevant, guys. Remember, this is a Google property, so I would not be doing some stupid, I'm going to link to a .gov or a .edu site for authority, because that's bullshit, and it has been for years. If it's relevant, then yes. If it's not relevant, you're just doing it because you learned that somewhere on some stupid SEO program somewhere, don't do it, because that's dumb. But what I would recommend doing is, like, I always link, and I teach this, but I always link from the GMB website text, the content body of the website. I always link to the GMB maps share URL as well as to the GMB website. So it's linking to itself, right? If you have an external website, so a self-hosted website, you can link to that. That makes sense. You could also link to some of your like social media stuff. That makes sense. Any type of branded property, that you could link out. Now, I wouldn't spam the description or the GMB website content with a bunch of external links. I would keep it, really, that's why I usually just link from the GMB website to itself and is also to the GMB maps share URL, because those are Google properties, right? So just consider that. It's after 5 o'clock. I don't have to get my daughter, or I don't get to have my daughter for dinner tonight. So I do have a couple extra minutes. Marco, can you hang out for a few extra?
Yeah, I can hang out for a few extra. My daughter isn't crying yet.
We've only got a few questions left, so.
Let's go.
All right. John says, I've got a Semantic Mastery syndrome. I have no doubt it's the place to be. Thanks, Johnny. John's the one in Marco's small group that he was talking about. Jordan says, Marco's right. We learned the why behind all these Semantic Mastery tactics, Syndication Academy, RYS stacks, press releases, etc., and then just sell them along with some other deep voodoo stuff we have developed in the lab. So he's talking about his own business specifically, Jordan. Then we also create all the content via writing and optimizing it, which we charge for. And then we do web design with SEO strategy pre-launch. I couldn't build a drive stack if my life depended on it. Haha. Yeah, that's great. I mean, honestly, guys, those are the audience that are tech nerds and like to, get their hands dirty, so to speak, roll up their sleeves and get to work. Then, RYS Academy will teach you how to build drive stacks. It's a lot of work. You can benefit from you can benefit from RYS stacks without having to learn how to build them by just buying them done for you. And you'll save yourself a shit ton of time and energy. Again, I'm not trying to discourage anybody from buying the course. I'm just saying you got to consider like where to spend your time. If learning how to build drive stacks going to progress your business, it might. You have to make that decision. I can't make that decision for you. Or is the benefit and the result that the drive stack can produce going to help your business? And if so, then why go through the trouble of learning how to build them when you could just purchase them done for you and receive the benefit that you were seeking to begin with? Does that make sense? And that way you could spend your time focusing on how to sell it or how to monetize it or how to apply it to get the result that you're seeking. Does that make sense? So again, guys, you have to think about it on a higher level. You know, that's what I think is really wrong with our industry, is that everybody teaches, or the vast majority of products tell you, hey, we're going to teach you how to do this one skill. And yeah, I'm not trying to take that away from anybody. That skill is valuable. Whatever that skill may be, it's valuable. But just because you know how to get a result from one particular skill does not make you a business owner. It does not make it a profitable business for you, right? So you got to think about how are you going to make money from whatever it is you choose to do? And is doing that thing, being the mechanic or the technician, is that actually going to make you the money? Or is selling that service and the result that that service produces going to make you the money? And if that's the case, then why don't you focus on learning how to sell it and find people that are already good at doing it, fulfilling it, to do it for you, right? And that's what we're trying to get at, guys. So Jordan understands that. And that's why Jordan's business is cranking, is just kicking ass. Okay. Lewis, he's a new mastermind member. Hey guys, any Black Friday sales? By the way, welcome, Lewis. Any Black Friday sales for done for you services or training? Yeah, that's what, isn't that what the GMB stuff was, the pre-Black Friday sale?
It's the pre. We will have something. Something's coming your way, and it's gonna be good. Trust me. It's not there. It's not Black Friday yet, dude. But we will have something. It'll be big. We control MGYB now, as Bradley mentioned. It's ours. It's Semantic Mastery's own store, and so we've got some really good stuff coming your way. And Luis, I will be talking to you on Monday. As a matter of fact, it's his onboarding call. Again, I'm sorry. All these mastermind questions keep coming up, or mastermind people. As part of the onboarding process, we give people a half-hour call, right? Just to get them pointed in the right direction, to see where they're going, where they want to be. So we ask questions, we try to provide guidance, and I just happen to get Luis. Guys, you can't ask for who you want. You're going to get whoever is up on the calendar, because we rotate since there's 5 of us. But whoever you get, you're going to get the direction that you need, and you're going to get your questions answered, so that you can get started on your way to POFU. That's what we want you to do. We want you to get started getting to that place where you're going to be and say, okay, now I don't have to deal with shitty clients. I don't have to deal with shitty people. I am at a place where I can go into any negotiation from a position of power. I know what I'm worth. And if this guy gives me any flack, I'm going to just tell him, yeah, fuck you. I'm going to go to your competitor and charge them half price just because I feel like it, because I don't need you. That's where we want you to be.
There you go. So, and yeah, so Black Friday is this Friday. So, yeah, there will be some other specials. I don't usually get involved with what promotions we're doing, guys. So I couldn't answer that, but I'm glad Marco said, yeah, we do have something coming Friday. So Jay Turner, what's up, Jay? He says, I've been able to get my client ranked in the 3-pack for the second most trafficked keyword phrase with an RYS stack. High five, Marco.
High five, dude.
But now I want to take on the main and most competitive keyword. I'm adding a silo of content to the RYS stack targeting the main keyword. So far, so good. My question is, when embarking on link building to all assets like RYS, syndication network, GMB website, etc., should I use only the main keyword phrase, or must I diversify the keyword phrases? Jay, diversify. So what I recommend you do is go pull your, you should have probably already done keyword research anyways. So if you're going to be siloing, you should have your keyword themes relatively tight for the silos anyways. So make sure that you're only using, if you're going to be direct targeting like link building on a silo basis, that you're only using the set of keywords that fall within that particular silo or keyword theme, right? Does that make sense? But let me take this down to a local level, because what I want to explain is, like, guys, when you're doing a ton of like spam link building and such to power up tier 1 entities, which would be like drive stacks, press release organization pages, syndication networks, even citations, right? You don't want to hit like, and I'm going to say local because that's primarily what I work on. And I'm assuming that's what you're talking about here anyways. You said client ranked, so it's likely it's local. You said 3-pack, right? So you don't want to use the keywords with the location modifiers. You can use a small, very small percentage of your overall keywords that you're going to add to the anchor text, for the link building that you're going to be either doing or buying a package or whatever. You can have a very, very small percentage with location modifiers, but I would keep that to an absolute bare minimum, because it's more about pushing the theme, the keyword theme, not the location or the geographic theme, if that makes sense. It's not about pushing location relevancy, because think about it. The further you move away from a local business, the more broader the market segment is. In other words, you don't want to be targeting on keywords or link building to tier 1 assets all the way down to the local level, including the local location modifier, because remember, your link building to tier 1 assets is 2 hops away from your target, which would be your GMB asset or your primary website, the client's website, or whatever. The further you get away from the ultimate target, the ultimate destination, the broader your keyword set should be, right? The broader the theme of the keyword set. So that's why I say I don't like to include local modifiers and anchor text when I'm building links to tier 1 assets. Instead, I use higher or market level keywords, broader market keywords. So what do I mean by that? So instead of, water heater repair, Fairfax, Virginia, or Fairfax, VA as a keyword that I would use as an anchor, it would be water heater repair and plumbing repair and plumbing service, if that makes sense. You guys, I lose the local modifier and use more broader market level keywords. Okay. Now, and also, you don't want to do entirely 100% all anchor text links, even with a diverse set of keywords, right? You want to also include naked URLs and some generics. And you can even use some brand terms at that point. It's a little bit odd to use brand terms at tier 2 or tier 2 links, because that's, again, 2 steps away from your target URL. But it does make sense if you're like link building to, for example, like, if it's a tier 1 branded property, it can make sense to also include the brand name in some of those anchor texts too, right? I would just use those sparingly as well. It's more about the keyword relevancy at that point and naked URLs, which is just pushing link equity to those tier 1 assets, regardless of anchor text. Marco, do you want to comment on that at all?
Yeah, thanks, Bradley. What I would recommend is reach out to Dedia. We have a Dedia. He knows exactly what to do with your RYS stack to get the most out of it.
Right.
And if needed, then get our keyword research gig, because we will come up with thousands upon thousands of keyword targets for you to either add relevance or to push. We provide what's called buoyancy. That's one of the words that I have difficulty with. But we help push up the main keyword by providing relevance throughout the keyword silo. And so we give you all that with the keyword research. And then all you do is turn that over to Dedia and say, here, this is the folder that I've created. This is the keyword that I'm targeting. Have at it. And Dedia has been with us long enough that he just knows, okay, this is what I need to do. And he'll blast it. He'll hammer that RYS stack so that it produces.
That's right. And then you don't have to worry about all those ratios and stuff, Jay. Honestly, I don't worry about any of that stuff anymore, because I don't ever do any of that stuff anymore. That's just, if I need it, I just contact Dedia, exactly what Marco said. And I just say, hey, this is what I got. This is what I'm trying to accomplish. Make it happen. And he does it. And honestly, guys, that's what I'm talking about. If Jay, again, I don't want to get back on this pitch again, but if you have your own tools and you're running your own link building tools and stuff like that, that's great. If you're efficient and all that, but if you're not, which I am not, I have no desire to run those tools, just, let the expert do it. And Dedia is an absolute ninja. He's an expert, a link building expert. So that's why I just turn it over to him, defer to him. Anytime I have something that I need to spam to push additional link equity to, I just contact him, say, this is what I got. This is what I need to do. Make it happen. And he does it. Right. Jay vouches for the GMB auto poster. He says it's great. And Shripad does great work. He is very responsive in support. And I can attest to that too, not just because it's me, but every time there's an issue, a little support bubble on the bottom right corner of the auto poster, you can just contact Shripad through there, and he's very, very responsive. Abe says, also, I would like to know about using one website for multiple GMB locations. Is this recommended and possible? It can be. You can just create separate location pages so each location, each GMB location should have its own dedicated page on the website. And that's the URL that you would submit as the website URL in the Google My Business profile. Does that make sense? So instead of just using the home root domain, so the home page of the website for that brand across all different GMB assets, create a location specific page on that domain. and then use that URL as the landing page, as that landing page URL as the website in GMB. It's perfectly fine to do that, guys. But what you want is you want to have, you can have, if it's the same brand, you can share the same brand name across all GMB locations. That's fine. But you want a unique URL and a unique phone number and a unique address, if possible. Okay. Strange NAP issues occur if you have 2 or more of the data points, the primary data points in a citation or NAP, which would be name, address, phone number, and also website URL. If you have 2 or more common data points among multiple locations, that's going to cause NAP issues, which is going to cause it make it very difficult to rank. You can have 1 common data point, typically the business name, because it's a brand that can be used across multiple GMBs as long as the other primary data points are unique. Physical address, phone number, website address. Does that make sense? So yes, it's possible. Now, one other thing I would mention is go back through Abe, watch some of our previous Hump Day Hangouts. We'll talk about the difference between using location pages, which would be pages within the, on the root domain, or using location specific subdomains, which are separate WordPress installations, but there's a reason to do that. And that's to help mitigate risk, potential, losing all of your assets if you were to catch a penalty. That's something that, again, we just talked about this last week. Go back and watch the replay from last week, and I'm pretty sure we talked about that extensively, about the benefit of using subdomains over subfolders or subdirectories. That's pretty much the same thing I'm talking about here. Where's the GMB auto poster? John, just post in the mastermind. We'll get you the link.
I posted the link higher up.
Yeah, I just didn't have it. Thank you, Marco. Nestor says, hey, I got to go, guys. I got to wrap this up. So anyways, and there's Rob with the yearly discount for the GMB agency offer. That's the enterprise account level or subscription level, which is 200 posts per month, or excuse me, 500 posts per month capacity. And if you buy it on a monthly basis, subscribe month to month, is $200. If you buy the yearly license, it's $200 per month, excuse me. If you buy the yearly license, it's $1,000 divided by 12. It comes out to be like $84 or $83 per month. So it's a hell of a lot cheaper that way. By the way, if you're scheduling out 31 posts, which there's a post scheduling feature, which is amazing in the GMB auto poster. So you can schedule out 1 post a day or however many you want. But let's just say we're doing 1 post a day. You could do 31 days, and then there's a republish option to where it can republish the post based upon the interval that you set. So for example, if you set every 31 days, you can schedule out 31 posts and then have them republished 31 days later, each post thereafter, right? Does that make sense? So day 1 and then day 32, that post publishes again. Day 2 and day 33, that post publishes again. Does that make sense? And that way you can set up all of your posting in an automated fashion. Well, with 500 posts per month, if you were to actually fill out or post 1 per day for each location, you can essentially put 16 locations in 1 enterprise account. 16 times 31 comes out to be 496. So you get 496 posts. Essentially, you can serve 16 locations, 100%, 1 post per day with a single enterprise account. Does that make sense? So that's how I'm clustering my my sites right now. Just so you guys, gave you a little insight on that.
Yeah, and I mean it's an awesome deal because it saves so much money, and then the auto poster just saves so much time and effort. Yeah. Once your VAs get proficient with going in there and just scheduling and putting everything up, it just saves you a ton of time and money. And so you'll make the money back that you invest in this just by the time you're going to save with your VAs, or if you do it if you try to do it on your own, which you shouldn't be doing.
Yeah. Now, just so you guys are aware, for clients, I have a VA that goes in and manually posts for all the clients. And I do that for a reason, because every post is 100% unique that way. She still has content templates, but she goes in and she puts a new image every time. And the content templates she used, there's tokens that she swaps out with different keywords and such. And the target URLs are always being cycled through, like whatever we're linking to from the GMB post and all that. So they become unique. And for clients, so I pay my VA on a per post basis. So I pay her for every post that she publishes, she gets paid. It varies between $3.50 to $5 per post. But I charge my clients, $10 to $15 per post, depending on what the volume is. So my point is I make money on that, even though she's manually posting. However, for lead gen assets, guys, once again, just like I was telling shit, who was I telling earlier? Michael Wheaton. I was telling Michael earlier not to worry about syndication networks for lead gen assets because you want to reduce expenses. Well, I don't want to pay a VA to manually post to lead gen assets because that's an additional expense. When I can pay for or subscribe to the auto poster, schedule all the posts. And do I do all this, guys? Hell no. I've trained a VA to go in and set up or schedule all the posts within the GMB auto poster and then schedule them to republish. So that literally I can pay a VA for 3 or 4 hours to schedule out all the, or, you know, however long it takes them to schedule all those posts out. And then it's done. And those GMB assets will continually update posts because of the auto poster. And I'm not paying anymore other than for the auto poster subscription. Does that make sense? So it's a hell of a lot more efficient on with money too, right? It's more cost effective. Okay. Nestor says, and I'm so over, we got to get out of here. Nestor says, hey guys, how about Webs 2.0 example, mybrand.wordpress.com, point to my GMB property, 3 links as a press release. Okay. First of all, I'm not familiar with their example. I know that's kind of a competitor that does, you know, they have their own store and blah, blah, blah. So I'm not real familiar with what they teach or what they say. So I can't really speak on that. And I'm not quite sure I understand in the wording of your question what you mean by mybrand.wordpress. I understand WordPress.com. That's fine. That's a branded entity property, right? That you can create on the WordPress.com site, kind of like what I showed earlier. But yeah, that's normal. That goes into syndication network, right? You try to get your brand name as a subdomain, blah, blah, blah. That's pretty standard. But point to GMB property, 3 links as a press release. I'm not sure what that means. Can you point to a GMB property from your WordPress.com site? Sure. Can you also use press releases to link to that WordPress.com site? Sure. You can also link to your GMB. I'm doing press releases, local PR pro method is what I use. And that's standard operating procedure. I publish a press release with every GMB asset that gets created. And we usually, my preferred method is to link from the first press release to the GMB, Google Maps share URL, to the GMB website URL, and to the GMB, the first post URL. And we teach that in Local Lease Pro. And that's just essentially my method. And so I'm going direct from the press releases to the Google assets. Okay. Yeah. There's 1,000 ways to skin a cat, right? So our method isn't the be all end all. Our method works for what we want it to work for. And that's what we teach. Other people have other methods that may very well work as good as ours. I'm not trying to say that ours is better than anybody else's. I'm just telling you what we teach. I don't know what they teach. I'm sorry. It's likely that would work too. Will says, Bradley, speaking about syndication networks, I finally figured out how to syndicate medium.com. I've been testing it for a while with a few posts now, and it works well to syndicate your WordPress posts with images and YouTube video embeds. And from there, you could syndicate to your tier 2 if you'd like. I'll send you an update to support Semantic Mastery. Thanks, Will. That's awesome. In fact, Will, if you would, if you're cool with it, you could even send the update right in the mastermind community. So that everybody else could benefit from it. If not, send it to me, and I'll update everybody in the mastermind and Syndication Academy for that matter once I see it. So thank you for that, Will. Okay, link to pre-Black Friday deals, please. Yeah, Lewis, just contact us to support, and that's it. Okay, guys, we're way over. We got all our questions answered, though.
That was a good one.
Thanks, Marco, for hanging out, man. I appreciate it.
Marathon. All right, dude.
All right, everybody. Mastermind webinar tomorrow. Be there or be square. We'll see y'all.
Bye, everyone.